Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for a couple of courses. The first one on respirators and fit testing. This course will be 1 hour and you will get 1 CE credit. At the end of the course, there will be a slide telling you how to get your CE certificate. But if you don't get the information down, don't worry, because Dental Toaster is going to send you a separate email at the end with all the information. My name is Beth Mckinney. I work for the Montgomery County Health Department in Maryland, and I'm a dental hygienist in the clinic. But during the pandemic, we were repurposed and to doing other jobs. Some of us were answering call lines about the virus in a call center. Some of us are actually doing COVID testing in drive-through testing centers. And in particular, I was asked to go through training to become a certified fit tester. Now, there is no actual paper certification from a company, but I have been through all of the training through TSI's Academy and through our emergency management systems. So I'm now considered a certified fit tester for Montgomery County. And we're going to talk about how all this relates to you in this new era of practicing during a coronavirus. So the first question that you might have is, well, what's wrong with the masks that we've always worn? They've always protected us. And the answer is, there's nothing wrong with them. Most of us wear the level 3 mask in clinic, and these masks are rated on their ability to be waterproof, to prevent fluid splatter from getting inside the mask. And there are generally 3 levels. The first level, the only time I've ever used that is for health fairs. Those are very thin masks, but ASTM level 3 is the one that I usually use, and most of you probably usually use in clinic. Now we have the N95s to deal with. So why do we need a respirator? What does it do? Well, it offers a better level of protection than the surgical masks, because it seals around the user's face, and it can prevent the penetration of aerosols, including viruses. Some of them are reusable, but we're talking about protection against very, very small particles. So how small are we talking about? Well, particles are divided in 3 categories: splatter, droplets, and aerosols. And to give you an idea of things that fall into that category, I have a list on the right that tells you how large some of these are. This down here is a picture of dust and pollen. As you see, it varies widely, but it runs around 10 microns. Volcanic ash, even smaller. And this is important because we now believe that COVID is spread not only through droplets, but also aerosols. And we're getting this idea because of the super spreader events, what happens when we have groups of people and so many contract the virus. So what is aerosol? What is 1 micron in size in the air? And there are a number of things, and people in different professions would wear respirators to protect against engine exhaust fumes in a car repair business, or the spray paint that they use on autos. Respirators are used in several different professions, people dealing with asbestos removal in buildings, but viruses are also about 1 micron in size. And you see the COVID virus there on the right, which we've all become very familiar with. The use of PPE is really quite confusing as to who governs what. So here's a list of some agencies and what they do. I would say to you, if you ever need information or have a question, go first to the OSHA website. OSHA.gov is probably the best starting place. But as you know, FDA has the list of hand sanitizers that we're not supposed to use. And NIOSH set standards for respirators, and their name has to be on the outside of the respirator. There have been a lot of Kn95s imported into the country that NIOSH has not certified. ASTM is the abbreviation that's on our surgical masks. And then the Department of Labor also may have some things to say about PPE and COVID testing in the workplace. So why is this all new now? Well, really it isn't. Standard precautions have always been based on how a pathogen is transmitted. The first category we have is contact transmission. That's like hepatitis B. So that's your bloodborne pathogens. And for those, we wear our PPE, we wear our gloves, we get vaccinations when we can. Then there's droplet transmission, things like flu or colds. Again, we get our flu vaccines and we wear our surgical masks and our other PPE. But now we become more aware of aerosol transmission. And things that fall into that category include TB and measles. Now, we've always dealt with TB and measles by saying we don't treat patients in the dental practice who have active disease. If you use the ADA's medical history form, you know that they devote some very prominent questions to screening whether a patient has TB. And we don't treat them until they've been on medication for a month and are no longer infectious. Measles, and this is the measles virus over here on the right. Measles is a highly infectious disease. There are periodic outbreaks in our country, but children tend to get sick very quickly from measles. So they're not likely to present in our offices for treatment. But now we have the coronavirus, and no matter how much we try to screen, some people with that are going to slip through the screening process because they can be asymptomatic for a period of time. This third category, level 3, with the medical profession has always required the use of respirators to treat. So this really isn't new. So do you have to wear a respirator all day, every day for every patient? And the answer, thank goodness, is no. You only need to wear it if you are treating a known or suspected COVID patient, or if you are generating aerosols during treatment. For us, that's primarily with the ultrasonic scaler. For dentists, it's handpieces. But when CDC was categorizing these things, they lumped all dental handpieces together. So they are also considering the prophy polishing handpiece to be aerosol generating. I might want to argue that that's primarily splatter, but CDC has put it in that category. So we have to be careful when we use that one too. So what kind of a respirator should you get? There are an awful lot of kinds out there. Some you may not be able to get from month to month. It varies. These things are hard to find on the market. One month you might be able to buy the one on the left, and the next month you can only buy the one on the right. But it's really important to note that OSHA states that your employer must provide a reasonable selection of respirators to choose from so that you, the employee, can select a respirator that is both comfortable and effective. And in fit testing, and I fit tested a wide variety of these respirators now, I hear a wide variety of opinions as to what is comfortable and what is not. And they vary between people, so what is comfortable for someone else may not be comfortable for you. But it's hard in this era of a pandemic where supplies are limited to say, well, what's a reasonable selection? If your employer can't get multiple kinds of N95s for you to try. But by definition, I would say a reasonable selection is at least giving you 2 choices. So here's the N95 respirator. And as you can see in the picture in the upper hand corner, this is the 1870 model made by 3M, and you can see NIOSH on there that it's been approved. The little silver thing you see in the middle is where I poked a hole to do a certain type of fit testing on that respirator, which we're going to talk about later. All respirators have advantages and disadvantages. This one is disposable. In fact, it cannot be disinfected. It looks more like a regular mask to patients, does come in sizes, but it is expensive, really expensive, and can be hard to get. It can be disinfected, and it's the hardest type of respirator to fit and to get a good seal with. Then there's the N95s, and these are half face piece respirators, and there's one there in the picture. They are much more cost effective because you can reuse them almost forever, including the cartridges, the way we use them. They can be disinfected and clean. You get a higher protection level. It is easier to get a good fit. They come in sizes. They are very scary looking to patients, especially children. And they're a little bit bulky, and they do require cleaning and maintenance. So you see in the picture our lab, which is set up at the end of the day. Remove the cartridges, you put it in warm soapy water, you put it in bleach, rinse in water, and hang it up to dry, and you're good to go for the next day. During the day in between patients, all you can do is take a wipe and wipe the front of the respirator and wipe the sides of the cartridges. So, fit testing. OSHA right now has waived annual fit testing, but they still require that someone who's going to wear a respirator for the first time be fit tested to make sure they know how to wear it properly and that it seals and does what it's supposed to do. There are two kinds of fit testing. There's a qualitative kind, which we can use on the N95s, or a quantitative kind, which we can use on either. You must have a medical clearance done, and simply you can go to OSHA.gov, and their form is right there. You can print out and use what they recommend. Unfortunately, fit testing is only good for the specific mask that you test on. So if next month your employer says, I can't get those masks anymore, I can only get this other one, you have to retest, and that is a real inconvenience. Also, if you have significant body changes, like a large weight gain, like the COVID-19, 19 pounds or whatever it is, or a loss, then you also have to retest. So let's talk about the different kinds. What is qualitative fit testing? It is a completely subjective assessment, so people could lie. We usually do either sweet or bitter tastes, and the test hood kits that we have here at the county are all saccharin. Your employer could buy a kit. You could do this in your office. You're still supposed to follow the entire OSHA testing protocol. And with the hood, you can only test N95s with this. So you see a picture on the right of one of our dental assistants being tested for her mask. What is quantitative fit testing? This is a little bit more accurate. It is objective because it's done by a machine. It can test any type of respirators, and it's possible that you can test multiple people at one time. There's no flavors involved. The saccharin and the bitter tastes are unpleasant, and they get on your skin. But there's no flavors involved with this. It's just sampling the air. It evaluates the seal of the mask and actually gives you a score. By doing so, it trains users to get the best fit, and at the end, it will provide you an objective certificate of a passed test. So what do you do to have to prepare for a fit test? Well, there are a couple circumstances that absolutely will not work. One is guys can't have facial hair. Not even, I didn't shave yesterday. You might get away with a little mustache, but the hair, these respirators are very sensitive and they make little passages for air to come in the side. We don't recommend wearing excessive makeup. It comes off on the inside of the respirator. We all tend to sweat a little bit in them. Abraham Lincoln is my poster child here because I don't think he could pass a fit test for any kind of respirator. He has asymmetrical facial profile. He's really gaunt. He's got some scarring, dentures, and the facial hair. Any of those things may cause a failure in the fit test. So make sure you get your medical clearance done, because if you have asthma or other cardiac issues, you may not be a candidate for wearing a respirator. And it is important that when you test, that you bring any PPE you're going to be wearing in the clinic with you for the test. Because if you can think of putting on your loops and a headlight sitting on top of the nose of your respirator, it can affect the fit because it's a little heavier. So you want to try to test under the same circumstances that you're going to be wearing the respirator. A lot of people forget to bring that stuff with them. So what do you have to do right before the test? I hope none of you smoke, but anybody that does, you can't smoke for 30 minutes before the test. Otherwise, you generate your own particles and it ruins the test. You can select a respirator by holding them up on the outside of your regular mask that you're wearing all the time now, and try to guess which would be the best fit for you. They come in small, medium, and large. And maybe you want to test on 2 types. You need to show the fit tester that you can properly don and doff the respirator. You want to check for comfort and fit. And there should be a mirror available so you can look in and make sure your straps are correct and your skin is not puckering. Little things can really throw off the test. Then put on the rest of your PPE and do a seal check, which includes holding your hands up in front of the mask and inhaling and exhaling forcefully to make sure that you can't detect any leaks before we start the test. The test consists of wearing the mask for 5 minutes before the test starts. They call it a comfort wear period, but for me, that was probably the most oppressive part of the test. If you do a quantitative test, the machine has a real-time fit factor that it can do to show you how it's sealing and how little adjustments like tightening or loosening a strap improve that fit. So you know it's good before you start the test. You know you're going to pass. OSHA is in charge of setting the standard, and there are 8 tests. But right now with the pandemic, some of it's been shortened. The entire test you have to do standing up, and you're not allowed to talk except for one of the tests. Each test is 60 seconds. And here they are. They're not aerobic exercises. You do them really slowly. They're just checking the fit and the seal under different circumstances. Turning and moving your head, talking, bending over as if you were picking something up, straightening up, and normal and deep breathing. Each one of these is 60 seconds. The machine gives you a score on each one, except for number 6. And we're going to talk about number 6 separately. In the picture, you see the lady with the filters on, and she's turning her head from side to side. The Grimace is a 15-second break, which is not tested or scored or rated, and it's designed to try to get you to break the seal on your mask, as if a patient told you a really funny joke and you laughed out loud. The purpose then is to see how well or if the mask reseats for the last 2 tests. And the Grimace is only for 15 seconds. And remember, those tests are both the same for the qualitative and the quantitative. It's just that in the qualitative, you're being sprayed all the time with saccharine solution, and you just tell the fit tester whether or not you taste it. So if you do get a score from the quantitative test, what does it mean? Your score measures the particles in the room air, and it compares it to the particles inside the mask. So for an N95, your score should be over 100. And that means that the air inside your mask is 100 times cleaner than the air outside it. If you're wearing an N99, the air really should be 1,000 times cleaner inside your mask than outside your mask. So you can see that the N99 does give superior protection to the N95. If you're comfortable in one, and as I said, they're cost effective, if you're comfortable in one and you can maintain it and you can figure out a way to help your patients not be scared to death of you, maybe you don't treat little kids, an N99 might be the way to go for you. So now you've got all this done, and here I am. I'm ready to do my aerosol generating procedures. I've got my N95 on, my gown, my loops, and then a face shield. And this is a special face shield that is made to extend over the loops. And my light affixes actually to the, not inside, but to the band, the plastic band of the shield. And this shield is a harder plastic and can be disinfected for a number of times. But I want to remind you that a face shield now is mandatory. And that's because you're trying to keep your N95 clean. If it gets splatter on the outside, you have to throw it away. So you want to keep them clean so you can rewear them a couple of times and get your money's worth of your use out of them. I wouldn't wear them for more than a day. If you sneeze on the inside and it gets wet, or you're sweating really bad and it gets wet, then again, you're going to have to dispose of them. But the shield is another important piece of what you need to wear. And I just have my picture here that goes on my jacket, so I see a lot of little kids and I want them to be able to see what I really look like. The only thing I don't have in this picture is a hair bonnet, which you could also add, but I didn't put one on for this. I want to remind you that once you decide what your office is going to do, you don't want to forget that you need to go into your bloodborne pathogen exposure control plan, which probably at this point we just need to relabel our infection control plan, because it's not only bloodborne now, it's aerosol. And you need to add a section on your office's respiratory protection program, whatever that is going to be. So you cleared medically. Your doctor said you're okay to wear a respirator, and you've been fit tested, but it was really hard. When I was doing the fit testing and I got to the point where you have to read, I was gasping for air in between every breath. It was in between every sentence. It was very difficult. So I still have a hard time tolerating a respirator for very long. So what can you do? Well, there are some air generating devices like the EasyFlow that can pass air, positive pressure air into the mask through a Hepa filter. So the same way that I showed you the hole poked in the N95, you could poke a hole and attach the EasyFlow. It would seal, but then again, your mask has a hole in it, so at the end of the day, you would have to get a new one for the next day. These respirators are not easy to wear. I would recommend what we're doing in in the Montgomery County is advising that people only wear them when they're doing the aerosol generating procedures, and then remove them and put on your ASTM level 3 surgical mask. And if you don't expect to be doing an aerosol generating procedure, don't start out with a respirator. They are hard. We've had a few health techs, some in the county, who have worn respirators all day, and they have become hypoxic. They fainted, they vomited. So it's not something that you would want to wear all day unchecked. Even the healthiest person needs breaks. And I would say, I was told by emergency management no more than 4 hours, but honestly, I would say no more than 2 before you really need to take these off and take a break. That's what we do in the we do the drive-through COVID testing. We don't make anybody stay in these for longer than a couple of hours because you really need a break.
Hey Beth, we do have a few questions here.
Okay.
If you want me to list those off. The first question that was asked was for Kn95s, do those require a fit test or not?
They do. Some of the Kn95s that have been imported from other countries did not pass NIOSH standards. And so I know a few dentists that have a closet full they don't know what to do with. Check your Kn95, make sure it says NIOSH on the front, that it's printed. And then yes, they do need to be fit tested. They are the worst mask to get a seal on. Very difficult. But if you have some that did not pass, you can't return them, you don't know what to do with them, you could wear them simply just in place of your ASTM level 3 mask.
Thank you. Second off, somebody was curious to know what face shield you were wearing in your photo.
I'm going to have to find out and get back to you. They used to make a face shield called the Opdiop some time ago. I can't remember if this is the same company, but it is a hard plastic, unlike the ones that have the little styrofoam, and they're just designed with a little elastic band, and they're designed to be disposable. This one adjusts around your head. It has a space for you it has 2 attachments to clip whatever light you have to the shield, and it sticks out over the loops. But it is something that we are going to have to wear now. I will try to find the name of it and email it out or whatever. I'll get it to you.
Next, Paula is curious to know, she says, most of us wear a level 3 over the N95 to protect it. Is this effective?
You're talking about protecting it from splatter, I assume?
I'm assuming.
You can do that. In my opinion, that just makes it even harder to breathe. I would think a face shield would be preferable, and we're told we're supposed to wear face shields anyway, so I would opt for the face shield rather than wearing the level 3, because then you have to take off, once you finish your patient treatment, you would have to take off both of those. The one on the outside, the level 3 surgical mask, if you're not wearing a face shield, that one's going to be contaminated, so then you'd have to throw it away, take off your respirator, and put back another level 3 mask or another mask, because now we're supposed to be wearing some sort of mask in the office all the time, everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Mary Beth wants to know, can we just wear a level 3 mask between patients?
Yes.
Okay.
You can wear a level 3 mask between patients, or even your cloth mask. Like, I have a desk. I have other duties besides just working in clinics. So when I leave the clinic, finish the patient, the assistant is going to do all the cleaning. I am not coming back in there until she tells me the room is ready again to go. I'm just going to have my cloth face mask on at my desk.
Also here I have, how long of a break do we need to take when taking off the masks?
I haven't heard anybody said, but I would say certainly until you're feeling comfortable, you're not breathing deeply, you're not sweating, you don't feel lightheaded. you're going to have to give it some time. And it's going to take time these days for the room to be cleaned, for air exchanges to happen. And Kathy's going to talk about all of this in a few minutes, but the room has to lay fallow in between patients for a little while. There are differences of opinion on how long that is, but that's going to give you the break from your N95. And please remember, when you're in these N95s and the N99s, people cannot hear you talk as well. So if I'm wearing an N95 and where I work, there's a lot of language barriers already between us and the patients who primarily speak Chinese or Spanish or another language. They cannot understand, and an interpreter has a hard time understanding. So it's better to have on your level 3, look at the patient, explain what you're going to be doing today, answer questions, and then if you need to pick up your Cavitron or piezo, then shift to your respirator for the time that you're going to be using that. That's my suggestion, because people won't be able to hear you very well.
Okay. Let's see here. We also have, is the combination of Kn95 and face shield best for aerosol producing procedures?
No. You'd be better in a single respirator that is fit tested and is found to be effective for your face, fits you, and seals properly, rather than doubling your mask.
Okay. Next we have, is it okay to wear the N95s and N99s with the exhale valve?
Yes.
Next.
Some have them, some don't. We don't have any in our clinic that have the exhale valves, but some people have come in that way and I've tested them on those and they're fine. There's all different kinds.
Can we use Cavitrons right now?
Right now in most states, the answer is no. This is what we are doing to get prepared. If your state is in a phase opening, as we are, if you're in phase 1, we're trying to do like smart dentistry where there's no drilling, and we're talking about hand scaling, and maybe giving chlorhexidine to patients that are really bad, but we're not getting into using the aerosols right now until we get into phase 2 and we're completely outfitted. Again, Kathy's going to go over other equipment that you need to meet those standards.
And the last one I have here right now says, many are wearing an N95, level 3, and a face shield to protect the N95. How about an ultraviolet disinfection to extend the N95?
Again, that's part of the extra engineering controls we have right now, and Kathy will be talking more about that. But you don't need to double mask inside your face shield. Your face shield will prevent the N95 from getting splatter on it and extend its longevity so that you can wear it for more than one patient right now. So I would not recommend doubling up, because really it does make it hard to breathe unless you're super triathlete and you just you have very good lungs. But for the rest of us, we want to have as little as possible, and just an N95 is oppressive enough. So I would recommend just the N95 and the face shield. Those are the 2 levels of protection that you really need.
We have a comment here, but I feel like you might elaborate on it a little bit because it's related to a previous question. This person says, my friend wears a P100 respirator. A parent complained because they felt that the provider's air was being expelled onto the patient. So I'm assuming that's related to that valve question. Yes,
those are like the PAPRs. Some respirators, particularly like the fire department wear and all, they have a way of delivering oxygen or air inside the mask. And the big complaint I hear with all of those is, especially with children, they're just kind of scary, and people wonder, what do you think you're going to get from me? And the only thing that I've tried to do with children is to sort of make a game out of it. You know, like, I'm going to pretend that I'm going to be an astronaut, and as we go along, I'm going to try to ask you to find things. Can you point to something that's a circle on my mask? Can you point to something that's a square on my mask? I'm trying to make it so that they don't feel so afraid of it, but probably that's the biggest drawbacks to wearing the N99s and N100s.
I then have here, they keep coming in, so I'm just going to keep going through if that's okay with you.
Okay.
I see, where can we find N95s to buy? Dentists are having a hard time finding them at any price.
They are, and prices are going up. And I hear that from not only the county for all of our programs, but I hear that from private practice dentists as well. And the N95 they may be able to buy this month is not the same as the N95 they may be able to buy next month, if they can get them at all. So they have to keep looking at all possible avenues to get those. I have no recommendations. We're having the same trouble. But one thing about having an N99, a half-face piece N99 available is, if you should happen to run out of your N95s, you don't have to cancel patients. You have one other alternative that you can wear. And as I said in one of my slides, OSHA says employees should be given a choice. So the N99 could be one of the choices, and at least it would be a backup if you get into trouble. And those are still somewhat available. I mean, they used to be available at Home Depot because many people wear these. You used to just be able to walk in and buy them. Now it's a little more difficult. We got some on Amazon, but they're only about, even with the price increase, they're only about $25 a piece, and they're reusable forever. So it's worth just having one, just in case, even if you think, well, I'm not ever going to wear this. Maybe you might have to sometime.
Okay. Next I have, Paula says, I have a coworker who's wearing the N95 over the level 3. What do you say about that? She says the N95 irritates her skin.
Some of them do. There's more fiberglass in them, but none of these things, even the N99s, they contain no latex, so they shouldn't be allergenic in any way. But I would worry if you have a level 3 underneath the N95, the N95's not going to seal. It's just like people who have facial hair. The littlest thing will make it not seal. So I'm not sure what to tell you. I think the best advice would be to tell you to try some other N95s. The one in the picture that was green, I've heard a lot of complaints about that being irritating to the skin. So I don't know if that's the one that she has, but the cup masks I've always found more uncomfortable than the ones in the picture I showed you where I had the hole in it, the 1870s. They're a little bit more shaped like a surgical mask, and they have a pocket in the front, so they're a little bit more comfortable, but you got to try some different ones to find the best fit.
All right, Mary Beth would like to know, if we cannot get too many N95s, are we able to rotate masks?
You are able to reuse the N95. OSHA says, well, CDC says right now for like up to 5 patients, which should be right now like about a day for us. And the reason that the face shield is so important is it keeps the front of the N95 from getting contaminated. You know, unless you sneeze in it or sweat really bad, that you're wetting the inside, but it does extend the longevity. So yes, you can reuse it up to a certain point. Now, if you're not wearing a face shield, you really should be, then please remember your N95 is going to be contaminated on the outside, and there is no way to disinfect it. So you would have to put, after you doff it, only by touching the straps, you would have to be careful when you put it on, not to put a glove on, hold the outside, get it back on, get the straps straight, then take off that glove, put fresh gloves on, and then you're ready to go to work.
What are your thoughts on the programs that sterilize or use any N95 masks? My boss sends them to the hospital for sterilization.
I have heard that some hospitals are doing that, and I have no information about how they're doing that or what they're using. I'm sorry, that one's out of my range of knowledge. The N99s are easily disinfectable in the office, but I don't know about how hospitals are sterilizing or disinfecting these N95s.
I have 3 here that are related to Kn95, so I'm just going to give them all to you because you'll be able to cover them together. I see a question saying, are Kn95s effective? Another person asked the same thing, and they also would like to know how many times can they wear the Kn95?
Some Kn95s are effective. They need to say NIOSH on the front of the mask, but a lot of the Kn95s that came primarily from Korea, I think, did not meet NIOSH standards. So again, you will find information about the model numbers on OSHA.gov, and you can also look on NIOSH, but I always go to OSHA first. And just like any other N95, if the mask is fit tested, seals, and fits you, you may reuse it for up to 5 patients, or until it gets soaked, one or the other.
Lisa would like to know, in order to keep down the use of level 3 masks, could a level 1 be used over the N95 instead?
If you mean for the purpose of preventing splatter and contamination to the front of the N95, you could. Again, it's another layer to try to breathe through, and you would probably be better off with the face shield.
Okay, Kim would like to know, just to be clear, wearing an N95 and a level 3 mask over it and a face shield, we are still only able to use the N95 for up to 5 patients.
That is what OSHA is saying, because the N95s, they do get wet. I mean, even the N99s, you notice that you sweat inside them, or you sneeze periodically or cough, and all of that is wetting the inside. And it's going to dry out even less if you've got another mask on top of it. So in that scenario, I see no need for putting a level 3 on top. It just gives you one more thing that you have to take off and throw away.
And we covered this a little bit, but I think this person might want a little more elaboration. They're asking, we can only find Kn95 approved. How effective is this as the only option?
Well, if that's the only option you've got, then I guess that's what you have to wear. But be aware that some of them, quite a few of them, did not pass NIOSH standards, and they do not seal well. So you're not getting much more protection than you are from the ASTM level 3 mask. See if your employers can invest just a tiny bit of money in getting you the N99s, the half face piece, at least to have as an alternative, depending on where your patients are coming from and how high risk you think they are.
And I don't currently have any other questions coming in at this moment.
Okay, so here is the thank you slide for information on how to claim your CEs. If you didn't get all this, don't worry about it, because you're going to get an extra email from Dental Toaster after the courses are over with complete instructions. And right now I'm going to turn the screen over to our sponsor for this, who is the company that makes the Easy Flow.
Do you have...
Hello, how are you?
Go ahead.
I'm Michael Anthony, the inventor and the CEO of EasyFlow. And I'm going to play you a little video and then tell you a little history about EasyFlow and some of the problems it solves for you.
Mike, just let you know we can't hear any sound if it just you want us to see the screen.
Are you aware that we cannot hear the video? There is no sound.
Okay. Hold on. No, I wasn't aware of that. Hold on. Let me make sure.
I have it up on my screen, Mike. Let me know if I can help anyway.
Yeah, if you can get the sound to work.
Okay. When you shared your screen, go out of share, exit the share screen,
Okay.
stop sharing.
Siobhan, I don't know whether you are able to share because if you're not co-hosts.
Okay.
So
Well,
can you-
let me see if I can help Mike. When you share your screen, there's an option in the lower left side. It says something like join.
Share computer sound.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, try that.
Let's try this one.
One day, I had a debate with one of the other nurses at work about how the air we breathe gets into our respirators. She recently found out that our respirators really only filtered air going out, but not the air coming in. In fact, inhaled air enters through gaps in the sides of the respirators rather than through the respirator itself. Then I wondered, since my teenage son works at a supermarket after school, but my husband stays home with work and our younger daughter, are my son and I exposing them to germs and sickness? Then I heard about EasyFlow. EasyFlow is an amazing new device which actually filters outside air and feeds fresh air right into your N95 respirator. It can be directly attached to your respirator with a plastic connector piece or worn with a very strong magnet device. The magnet nozzle even has a wick, which can be used as a diffuser for essential oils. The kit comes complete with an EasyFlow device and all these extensions. I bought one for myself and one for my son. What a lifesaver. EasyFlow makes me feel safer and more comfortable while wearing a respirator all day long.
Mark Muir. Today I'm going to do a
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
thank you.
Yes, we hear.
Okay. I'm Michael Anthony. I'm the inventor and the CEO of EasyFlow. And I'd like to give you a little history on EasyFlow. About 20 years ago, I started working for Habitat for Humanity in Southeast Asia. And I noticed how bad the pollution was there. And I knew there had to be a solution. And that's how I came up with a positive airflow of filtered air to a mask. I went to the School of Engineering at ASU, and they took me on as a capstone project to make my first prototype. So I had some challenges making it. I didn't realize how heavy air was to push without a compressor. So I ended up having to make my own fan. And I went to an aeronautical engineer in Beijing, and he taught me how to pitch the blades a certain way. And my goal was to make the airflow so strong you had to turn it down. But I wasn't happy with that, so then we added ball bearings and made it spin faster. And that's how we ended up with 3 different speeds. From there, I had to get the right type of battery to push that fan and to last the whole shift for like a nurse or a dental hygienist or someone that wears a respirator all day. So we ended up using a form of Tesla technology to get up to 10 hours of battery life. From there, we tried to make it marketable and affordable. My original goal was to make it affordable for the guy who rode his bike to work in Beijing and worked outside all day as a traffic cop or something like that. And the cost was very important to me to keep it low for people. So that's the history of EasyFlow and how I developed it. The problem with EasyFlow is, or the solution to EasyFlow is, how can we make wearing a mask more comfortable? 1 out of 8 people in America are in the healthcare industry, and a good portion of them wear a respirator all day long. And wearing a respirator all day long, as you guys have been talking about, it reduces oxygen levels, it causes headaches, nausea, anxiety, exhaustion. The list just goes on and on and on. But EasyFlow is pushing in filtered air into your mask and relieving most of those symptoms. A lot of people are telling you, you know, different ways of relieving this, like taking breaks and, you know, the kind of food you eat and the liquids and fruits and add them to your diet and limit moisture robbing snacks and things like that. EasyFlow will solve those problems without even doing any of that. I had a lot of nurses who just couldn't go to work without an EasyFlow. Probably my biggest clients are dental hygienists who, you know, it's what you guys are doing. Your job is like being on the front lines of Normandy. I mean, it's a very dangerous job with this pandemic. And there has, all the amount of PPE you wear all day long is just so miserable. So I think EasyFlow will help a lot with that. One of the biggest benefits is it keeps your mask drier. So the length of your mask and how long your mask will last will be much longer, in addition to just making it more comfortable to wear. People don't realize when you're wearing a mask, where do you get your air? When you're wearing an N95 mask, where do you get your air? It's basically coming into the gaps on the side and the leakage. An N95 mask has about 10% leakage. So air is going to go to the line of least resistance. So essentially, you're breathing air from outside. Breathing air from outside is not doing you any good. But when you're putting on an EasyFlow, you have filtered air that's pumping it into your mask and pushing that same air, the bad air, out the same gaps it was getting in before, and solving the problems of the headaches and the nausea. So EasyFlow has been a real successful product. I honestly never thought I'd sell it in America until this virus hit. And then I sell more in 1 week in America than I do in a year in China. It's just unbelievable how people from all over the world have taken to this product, especially medical professionals. I have doctors wearing it in surgery. Almost every hygienist I know of has it now. I sell it in the Philippines and Brazil and Europe and all over Asia. The medical community has really embraced my product. The best thing about it is it can be attached to any mask. You can wear it with an N95. You can wear it with a Kn95. I mean, I have people wearing it with homemade masks, whatever they can find. It's been a real benefit to people. I'm going to make an offer to everyone watching this video to use the DCDHA10 code when you're checking out on my website, EasyFlow USA. we'll give you a 10% discount just for watching this. And
excuse me, Mike, I'm sorry to interrupt you for 1 second. So we see that your PowerPoint's a bit blank. I don't know whether you are supposed to share any screen with us. If you not have any PowerPoints, you maybe, you know, stop sharing your screen.
how's this?
Now we see it. Okay.
Now you see it. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So, you know, here's a picture of some of the professionals that send me in copies to my Facebook and my social media page. I've had doctors in Miami buy 1,000 of them and hand them out to every nurse that in the University of Miami hospital. You know, our product has a Hepa 13 3M filter, which filters down to 0.3 microns. You know, as you know, most of the virus is traveling in larger water bubbles and attaches itself to larger particulate matter. So the Hepa 13 filter does catch a lot of it. There's a couple ways to wear EasyFlow too. You can wear it directly attached to the mask by cutting a small hole in the mask and then slipping the tube in it and adding using a plastic connector piece to connect it. It gets a very tight fit. Or you can use an air nozzle, which about 70% of the professionals prefer to use because it doesn't compromise the mask. And you can just slip it in under the side in a place that feels comfortable and attach the magnet. And then it has been proven to work just as effective and add the positive airflow to the mask by using the magnet connector device too. I'm open for any questions that you have, and we'll go from there.
And I just want to let everybody who attended this course right now, you guys have a good opportunity to win these machines. So, you know, while, you know, people are asking the question, if you go to DCDHA website, you can buy the raffle ticket right now, last minute. Then we can put your name in our raffle ticket's name. So later, Shayna gonna, you know, we're gonna draw the raffling. So you have a chance, so please check it out.
How many raffles are you doing? How many units are you doing?
We have 2 machines from you guys.
Today we're going to increase that to 4.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, you guys have to really find
You can pick 4 out, 4 raffle tickets out, and we'll send one to the winners on all 4.
We do have a couple questions here, Mike.
Okay.
First one is, does the air nozzle come with the filter?
The EasyFlow kit comes complete. It comes with the 2 different ways of wearing it. It comes with the lanyard, the filter. We provide a mask, either a Kn95 or N95 or 3M quality or better, whatever we can source at the time. We've had the same challenges as everyone else. And then all the tubing, the extension hose, everything comes complete. Now on our site, we have additional
EasyFlowUSA.com.
Yeah, EasyFlowUSA.com. We have additional accessories if you break a tube or you lose a magnet or whatever. But we have plenty of accessories in stock to keep you in business with our system. But all you really need to do is just buy one kit, and it comes with everything.
And one other question that we have here says, is there any research on this product at this time?
Yes, it's again, we're not really selling a mask. Our product attaches to any NIOSH FDA approved CE mask. Okay, so our device pairs with FDA and NIOSH approved products. We've also done filtration tests. Again, we use the gold standard in filtration, a 3M Hepa 13 filter. So all of our components are medical grade and FDA compliant. So we have done some other tests and we're equal to an N95 in filtration if you factor in the leakage. One person, I had a friend who was buying tons of masks from China during the rush back in April and May. And he bought about 20,000 Kn95 masks that were counterfeit. And then he applied an Easy Flow to the counterfeit mask and it became compliant. So Easy Flow really helps bring your mask that you have up to standard. And that's just one example.
I have one other question here. Somebody is asking about clarification for recent concerns about breaking the seal when using the magnet.
Yes, we did a test on that, and by breaking, when you cut a hole in the mask and you make it small enough and wedge the tube in there and put the plastic connector piece on, it is very tight seal. And we've done tests on it with micro technology filtration system in Orlando, and they found it was very effective, even compromising the mask with a hole, with the way our patented connector piece is. And it has the exact same effect with the air nozzle too, the exact same filtration effect as an N95. Again, you're applying a positive airflow to your mask, which allows you to breathe normally and takes away a lot of the symptoms. But at the same time, it's pushing that air from outside back out those same gaps.
And one more question, is it FDA approved?
Well, we don't really need FDA approval. The products that we connect to and the filtration does. So as long as you're using an FDA approved NIOSH mask and we continue using a 3M Hepa 13 filter, all the components that need FDA approval have been satisfied. We're not a medical product. This product was made for air pollution in Southeast Asia. Again, I repeat, I never thought I'd ever sell it in America. But when professionals in the medical industry realized that it was solving their biggest problems of wearing a respirator all day, we became a hot item. And we will continue to use quality products and all the FDA requirements and encourage people to use it with an FDA or NIOSH approved mask.
All right, I don't see any other questions at this current moment.
Well, thank you, and I hope you guys win, and I'd love to send you one, but if you don't, you can use the discount code, and I thank Han for arranging that, and we'd love to fill your orders for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mike. And then I see that people are buying the raffle ticket right now. I just want to give you a little bit of a time to buy raffle tickets. If you are interested in, please go on website. Let me just put in the link one more time here. There are some people buy the 4 tickets and 2 tickets. I keep seeing that. So hopefully you can get the one of the 4. We want to give you time until 12:15. And at 12:15, we're going to do the drawing raffle. So stay tuned. We will get back to you soon. And please buy the tickets if you are interested in. And thank you, Mike.
Oh, you're welcome, Han, and we'll look for your email on all the winners and we'll get those out immediately.
Sounds good. Great. Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much.
So a lot of people are buying the raffle ticket right now. So between me and Shayna, we are just putting your names in the box right now. So please just stay tuned. Give us a few minutes. Put your own name in the box, okay?
Hello, I'm trying to see how do you do the raffle? Hello?
Yeah. Is there anybody, Siobhan, can you please help her? I'm working on with the Shayna right now.
Sorry.
Okay, who was that?
This is Felicia. I'm trying to see how to do the raffle.
Okay, Felicia, I'm going to, would it be okay if I private messaged you my phone number?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm not doing technology, so you can try. We'll see what happens. So what do I need to do after that?
Okay. I'm going to put my email in the chat box. Can you send me an email with your phone number?
So tap on chat and send an email.
Just hit the, are you on your phone or the computer?
I'm on the computer.
Okay. And so you see the chat box?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me if you can see this. Okay, I just sent my email.
Yes, I can see that.
Okay, so if you can email me your phone number, I'll call you and that way I can walk you through it over the phone.
Oh, it went away too fast before I could get it
Okay,
down.
well, let me tell you then.
Okay.
Siobhan?
Let's take advantage of the technology and I'll just tell you. It's,
Okay.
I'm sorry, was somebody saying something?
Go ahead.
Yes. Han posted the link in the chat, and that's how I was able to just click on the link and purchase my tickets.
Okay. Is that helpful?
So click on chat and I'll see that.
Yeah, see, I think she was having, I'm gonna actually repost the link to it in the chat box to purchase the tickets. All right, hold on. Okay, did you get that link in the chat box?
Yes, I see it now, but
Okay, so if you click on the link, are you okay from there, or did you need to?
I clicked on the link and it says purchase raffle tickets. So click on that again on that link.
Yeah, follow the prompts and you should be okay.
Okay, we'll see. Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna try.
But if not, we can do it over the phone, okay?
Okay. Okay, I see one raffle ticket. Let's see. Purchase tickets.
Yes, either you can buy one ticket or you can buy 2 tickets, or after you bought it, you can buy more. So it's up to you.
Now, okay, it says raffle ticket, enter for your chance. It says service is not available. See other services. So I don't know. See other services. Let's see what else. Oh, it says the service is not available. Oh, wow. So it's not letting me do it.
Which ticket is saying that? It's a 1 ticket or?
One ticket.
Okay.
It says, yeah, it's not letting me do anything. Yeah, it says service not available. Attention.
Okay, hold on one moment. I'm gonna wait for Hanan to get off the phone. But if you want to go ahead and email me your phone number so that I can try to help you offline.
Okay.
They can continue on with the program.
There's also a second person in the chat stating the same issue, just to give you all a heads up.
Okay. Oh, I've got all this stuff on my phone there. Let's see. Now, I didn't copy the email because I just tapped on the link.
Okay, I'm gonna give it to you. And anybody who's having an issue with the link, please email me your name and your phone number. SRH
SRH.
RDH at gmail.com. And I'll put it in the chat box again. And just be patient with us as we work through this. We'll make sure that, you know, everybody's able to purchase a ticket. So I'll be on the lookout for the emails.
So now I need to go back to the Zoom because I'm seeing purchase a ticket. So just tap on into the Zoom up here. I don't want to cut that off.
Okay. So it seems like people cannot buy more tickets, right? All right. So what I'm going to do is, Kathy, would you be ready to go over your PowerPoint right now? Maybe we can start yours and then let me just work on that technical issue while you are doing it so people can buy, if you are okay with that.
Well, see, now I can hear you, but I don't see you for the Zoom. It just says Zoom. There's no picture.
That's just because they're switching over presenters. So just give it a moment. And
I thought it was something I did.
no, you're all set.
Okay. This is my first time doing Zoom, so this is enough as it is, and all this other stuff. It's like,
how did you get through the pandemic this far? And this is your first Zoom, Felicia.
I've been working. I haven't been home to be Zooming.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, gosh.
All right, thank you for everybody for the patience. So we will do the raffling right after Kathy is done with her presentation. In the meantime, I'm gonna working on this technical issue, and then I will let you know after resume everything on the chatting box. Thank you so much for your patience.
Hey, I have one quick question. So if I had bought my raffle tickets before, they're included in this pile, right?
Yeah, your name is in the box.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Is it okay if I go ahead now, Hannah?
Yes, thank you, Kathy.
I'm going to mute everybody that is not the presenter at this time, just to let you all know that, and turn your videos off, just so that all of our attention can be with Kathy. If you have questions, please put them in the chat box, and when there's a good opportunity, I will go through them with Kathy like we did in the last presentation.
Thank you, Sarah. And this is Kathy Barrard. I'm a dental hygienist. I am working clinically now. I went back at the end of June, beginning of July, and everything Beth said about those N95 masks is so true. They are very difficult to breathe in. Thank you for joining us today for COVID-19 dental infection control. For participation in this course, you will receive 1 CE credit. At the end of the course, you will be given a course code that must be entered when registering for your CE certificate. There will be a link to the Dental Toaster online course to guide you to getting your certificate, and you will receive an email directly from Dental Toaster with instruction to get your CE as well. So I'll go ahead and get started. Some of you may have already seen something new that was in the New York Times about COVID-19 in dental offices. I've got a slide reference on that for you. It's not going to let me advance. Okay. So the course objectives today are to understand the routine application of various infection control practices and protocols, describe the challenges that representative bloodborne, airborne, contact, and waterborne infections present to dental healthcare workers, and comprehend a layered approach to accomplish infection control goals in a dental facility. So there's this kind of interesting, it's like an upside down triangle hierarchy of controls from the most effective to the least effective in ways that we can protect ourselves. What's interesting is that PPE, as you can see, is all the way at the bottom. That number 1 is to eliminate or physically remove the hazard. And then below that is to substitute, replace the hazard, have engineering controls, then administrative controls, and then PPE. So some of the things about elimination, physically removing the hazard, that would be screening the patients before they come in, phone calls with the patients, not allowing patients who have fever or who have been exposed to COVID-19 or who have any other symptoms. We don't want sick people coming into the office as patients, and that includes ourselves, that we don't allow dental health care workers to come in and work if we're sick, if we have a fever or we're not feeling well. And then in addition to that would be something about looking at, having barriers in between the patients. So those kind of go hand in hand with the engineering controls. So you would separate your chairs. You would take away all the magazines and all the clutter in the office. You would maybe turn some chairs around so that the patients wouldn't be able to sit. Have tape on the floor to indicate this is 6 feet, this is 6 feet, don't come any closer. And then reroute the patients through the facility so that they're coming in one door, they're not actually gathering in the reception area, that you're changing your appointment time so that you can accommodate patients having less contact with each other that way, and that you're taking their temperature as soon as they come in. You're having them answer the questions again, the screening questions. You're having perhaps putting up plastic guards or sneeze guards between the patients and the reception, excuse me, the receptionist. And then you're looking at administrative controls, changing the way that we work so that maybe we're not doing all the same things that we were before. And then you finally look at the personal protective equipment. So as you can, as we're going along, you can type questions into the chat box. So this is basic, standard precautions that we've always used, and we're adding transmission-based and airborne-based precautions. So we have the chain of infection that we can interrupt at any point along the chain. So you have to have the pathogen, the virus that is causing the disease. You have to have the reservoir, which is the individual. The portal of exit in this case would either be them breathing or coughing or sneezing. The mode of transmission would either be inhaled or by touching a contaminated surface, and then us touching our eyes, nose, mouth. And we have to be susceptible ourselves. We have to be not able to withstand an attack by a pathogen. So you have to have all those links in the chain to cause the infection, and you can break the point, you can break it at any point, and you should try to break it at multiple points throughout that chain of infection. That's what we do with our standard precautions and our transmission and droplet precautions. So you go back to your basics. You go to your CDC guidelines all the way back to 2003. The MMWR was published with basic expectations for safe care in dental healthcare settings, and then they came up with a summary of infection prevention practices in dental settings, which did not change any of the original recommendations all the way back to 2003. They just laid them out a little bit easier to understand. And they have this compendium document that has checklists, and it breaks it down even further. All of these are free, available on the CDC website. You can download them, you can request them to be sent to you by mail. OSHA also offers guidance. You can go to the OSHA website and you'll go to the dentistry workers and employers. They have this statement, which is accompanied by a photograph of the dentist and the assistant in very close proximity, bare arms, not really protecting themselves. I don't even think there's eye protection on that patient in that photograph. That's a particularly scary photo in these times. And then they have their COVID-19 guidance for dental practitioners. So both of these are easy to access on the OSHA website. And then WHO just came out with this consideration for the provision of essential oral health care services in the context of COVID-19 on August 3rd. The very next day, CDC came out with updates on their website, which include Their summary of recent changes include they updated the definition of fever to be measured of 100 degrees Fahrenheit or subjective fever. And with areas that have moderate to substantial community transmission, you want to make sure that you're wearing eye protection in addition to your face mask to ensure the eyes, nose, and mouth are all protected. Use an N95 respirator or respirator that offers an equivalent or higher level of protection during aerosol generating procedures, which are also called AGP, and aerosol generating devices are AGD. And they added language about protective eyewear, and they included additional guidance on physical distancing. So you want to check your reliable sources. You don't want to just get your information from social media. You don't want to be going to Facebook to find out what you should be doing. Every single one of us, as a licensed healthcare provider, it is required that we know what our scope of practice is. You go to your board of dentistry, you look at your rules and regulations, and you know what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. When you look at some of the things that are published, you need to check the source. You need to use your critical thinking skills. So you've got critical thinking skills that you developed while you were in school and that you've developed as you've been practicing. So you want to look at using your standard precautions and the transmission-based precautions, which includes airborne, droplet, and contact precautions, because we know this is a new virus. We don't know everything about it. Things change almost on a daily basis. Sometimes you keep checking the websites of the CDC and OSHA and OSAP, which is a wonderful resource for dental providers. And there isn't anything today, but tomorrow there's going to be something. And then it seems like they come out together. August 3rd, 4th, and 5th, ADHA updated their guidance document the next day after CDC updated theirs. So you're going to be using both standard precautions and transmission-based precautions. Standard precautions includes hand hygiene, personal protective equipment, respiratory hygiene, cough etiquette, sharp safety and safe injection practices, sterilization and disinfection, environmental infection prevention and control, dental unit water quality, and then you should evaluate your program to make sure that what you're doing in your facility is covering all of those things. And then in addition, you're going to layer on the transmission-based precautions. So we're going to take better care with airborne transmissions. Droplets are larger than 5 microns, and airborne aerosol generated are smaller. And then contact, you're going to disinfect your rooms. First thing you go in the morning, you're going to garb up, you're going to use your nitrile gloves, your heavy duty gloves, and you're going to first clean with your EPA hospital detergent, and then you're going to go through and you're going to wipe all your surfaces down. So we're going to up our level of what we're doing to protect ourselves and to protect the patients. So some of the things that can be done, you want to look at your current guidelines and you want to use reliable sources. You want to adapt our protocols so that we're doing all the right things, so that maybe we're going to change what we do, change the way that we do it a little bit. We're going to reduce the risk of cross-contamination, and we're going to use safer practice with products and devices. So these are some of the places that you can get your evidence-based resources. OSAP, a partner with DentaQuest, and they produce this best practices. It's almost a 30-page document on infection control in dental clinics during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's available for free download at the OSAP website. Their OSAP has made their COVID-19 resource page available for free. You can log in and you can download their it's considered a toolkit and a resource page. You can go to the CDC website. This is the August 4th update. See right here, it says updated August 4th. They've had multiple updates. You've got the ADHA interim guidance on returning to work. This was updated August 5th. And then you look at OSHA. One of the really important things, and Beth touched on this, about your employer being able to provide you with a choice, that there should be several different PPE choices for you. Many employers are having a hard time finding N95 masks, but you have the expectation that when you go to work, that you're going to be working in a place that is free from recognized hazards that are likely to cause death or serious physical harm to you as an employee. That's the general duty clause that's covered in OSHA. And that's our basic expectation, that we will work in a safe place. In addition to that, the Department of Labor has standards. Both the federal Department of Labor and some of the states have their individual. Virginia has their own Department of Labor guidance documents. So we're looking at areas of concern and weighing them against how can we weigh what we're doing to make sure that we're as safe as possible, and that we're providing a service to our patients, that we're providing what the patient needs. Because when you look at dentistry, we really are providing an essential service. When you think about the patients that have risk factors for COVID-19, that includes chronic inflammatory diseases. With periodontal disease is a chronic inflammatory disease. So we need to be doing things to help our patients to keep themselves as healthy as possible, so that we can all stay alive as long as we can, so that we can get to the place where there's going to be vaccines. They've already got good treatment with the remdesivir and the steroids, but there's other treatments that are coming out soon. We just need to stay safe as we can and give our patients the best care that we can. So you have to weigh the difference between using an aerosol generating device and then the ergonomic risks to us doing only hand scaling. How many PPE products can we get? And are they even adequate for the novel nature of this disease? Because we know as much as we know right now, but we keep learning new things about it. So we want to make sure that we select PPE that's appropriate for ourselves and for the procedures that we're doing. We have to decide what types of services we're going to offer, and we want to use technology. We want to use technology that's available now and that's being developed. Very exciting about the EasyFlow technology for the mask. Now here's something that you're going to need to have. You have to have a mask. The minimum is the level 3. You ideally would have an N95. If you need to have a Kn95, that's what your employer can get. You should wear both eye protection and face shield. This disease can be transmitted through your eyes. Your eyes are vulnerable to the virus. So you need to be wearing, if you're not wearing loops, then you need to be wearing safety goggles. And I'm sorry, you should be wearing the face shield as well. And you should have, this is the ultralight that Beth demonstrated that she was wearing. It's got a little hood right over the top of it. This is an oroscopic shield that has a little hole to allow your light to protrude through it there, and there's foam across the top of that. Again, it protects you from aerosol going up and then coming down. But you're wearing both eye protection and a face shield. You're wearing gloves, gowns, hair covers are optional, but most people don't want to be taking, most people are covering their hair. And then clinic shoes. You need to think about having your shoes at the office, disinfecting them, keeping them there, and wearing other shoes home. You don't want to bring the shoes home with you. Most people are also changing their clothes. They're wearing their scrubs to work unless they're changing at work into their scrubs, and then taking their scrubs off at work, putting on their street clothes, and putting their dirty scrubs. Either the offices are offering a laundry service there, and if they're not, then you're putting that into a separate container that would plastic bag if nothing else, and you're washing those scrubs separately from all your other clothing. You're not going to wash that with your regular clothing that the rest of your family would be exposed to. You want to use your hottest temperature and use bleach in that water as well. So you can find there's basically several different ways that you can put on and remove PPE, donning and doffing. Beth talked about it a little bit. You want to make sure that you're doing it in the correct order. You want to make sure that your gloves are over the cuffs of your gown. You want to make sure that your mask is on correctly. You've tested it to make sure that you've got a good fit. And then you're wearing your goggles and your face shield over that. The EPA list ends. So for as far as disinfecting your room, there is this new list that EPA made available. And I just want to remind everyone that the disinfectants that we use are actually considered pesticides, which is why you do not touch these disinfectants with your bare hands. You don't grab a wipe and wipe the room down with your bare hands. You wear your heavy duty, your heavy duty gloves. Usually they're made with nitrile, but you want to have your heavy duty gloves. Even latex gloves or non-latex gloves, the exam gloves, nobody's using latex anymore. The vinyl gloves probably provide a little bit better protection if you have vinyl gloves in your operatory, but you should be wearing the heavy duty gloves when you're disinfecting your room. So you're going to clean the surfaces first, and then you're going to follow with an EPA list and surface disinfectant. And they've got a lot of them have this statement that it's for emerging pathogens. Some of them already had statements against coronavirus that they already claimed. So you can find it right here. It's this EPA registered number 46781-8-43100. So that's for Cavi wipes. That one is Cavicide, which you might be able to get as a spray, or you might be able to get it in the wipes still. This one is a bleach product. This is a bleach spray, and their FDA number is not on here. I did not take a good picture of that one, but oh, there it is, EPA registered number 56392-7. So when you look up your numbers, you go to that EPA.gov site, you can look up your product and see if it is on that list. And they're not listed by names, they're listed by those numbers. So any chemical that's made by that company is going to actually have the same EPA number. They're registered, they were registered with the EPA under that number. Again, it's a pesticide. Do not use your bare hands. We had patients we had to start hiding our disinfectant wipes because patients when we left the room, we came back and there was somebody going through the wipes, pulling them out and stuffing them in their pockets. They were stealing masks, they were stealing gloves. I'm sure you all had that experience as well. We talk about environmental surfaces. So these are the surfaces that can become contaminated when we're working. So we want to make sure that we're looking at our environmental surfaces. You want to get rid of all the clutter that's in your operatory so that you have just a clean slate to work with and that you can keep your surfaces as clean as possible. They can serve as a reservoir for microbial contamination. They can become contaminated through touch, splash, or droplets generated during patient care. Environmental surfaces are divided into clinical contact and housekeeping surfaces. So clinical contact surfaces have a high potential for contamination. You want to barrier as much of that as possible so that you don't have to clean and disinfect it if it's not touched. And you want to also have an agreement with each other that we're only going to touch the light handle. We're not going to grab the arm of the light. We're going to only grab the handle so that you want to just all agree on what you're going to be touching in the operatories. And then your housekeeping surfaces may not come into direct contact with the patient, but they may be contaminated if there's a splash or a spill of blood or other bodily fluids. So you want to be able to clean and disinfect your clinical contact surfaces, and then periodically do your housekeeping surfaces. Your sterilizer. So we talk about the other things that we need to do before we can go back to, as far as going back to work, you want to make sure that everything in the facility has been tested. So you need to make sure that your sterilizers have been tested. So you can either do it where you have a mail-in service where you go ahead and you spore test that piece of equipment and you mail it in, or you can do it in the office. This is a new one that came out, and it will tell you in 20 minutes that your sterilizers are killing biological indicators. Or there's another, it's an older service that you could do where you had biological indicators that you would place into a little incubator, and it would have to grow overnight. This Tuttenauer is new. This one's around $500 or less. And then the service where you can mail it in it's just whatever your office can get from your vendor. It depends on what your experience is with your vendors. And a lot of people do it. Their weekly spore testing is required by regulation. So you do have to check and make sure that all your autoclaves, statums, whatever you're using for sterilizing need to be tested weekly. And you would keep track of that at least for 5 years. And the same thing for your water testing. So you want, for water lines, dental unit water lines, you want to make sure that if your office was closed for a while, that you've shocked, you test and treat your dental unit water lines, and you want to be able to prove that. So you want to be doing that at least quarterly. You might have to do it more often if you find that if you go ahead and test and you've got too numerous to count, you've got something growing, you need to reshock that unit, retest it, and if it doesn't pass, then you may need to take that unit out of service and have some remediation done before you can use that unit. The microbes of concern are Legionella, Pseudomonas, non-tuberculous microbacteria, and they're of concern for both the patient and for us, because any of the microbes that are in the water, if there's any aerosol generating procedures going on in the office, that is the dental unit water line water that's coming up. So we're inhaling those microbes. That's something that we need to protect ourselves from as well as the patients. So you definitely want to make sure that your dental unit water lines are passing. Pre-rinsing. So this practice here, this is out in California, they're using ozonated water. They're using water that's been ozonated so that they know that it kills bacteria and viruses and fungi. And pre-rinsing, so there's ways to minimize aerosol risk. So you can pre-rinse the patient. There's discussion on whether you can use a type of product called peroxide or hydrogen peroxide, 1% solution of peroxide, chlorhexidine rinses. Povidone iodine is one that's actually been studied with COVID-19. It's been studied at the University of Connecticut and been demonstrated to be effective against COVID-19. The pre-procedural mouth rinses, there's no harm in doing it, and patients actually seem to appreciate doing it. They feel better about it. There's very limited evidence that it will make a big difference, but it's certainly a good protocol to use. Also, when I see my patient, I have them use the hand sanitizer if they didn't already wash their hands, or use the hand sanitizer, and then I have them pre-rinse. You need to decide with your clinical judgment whether you're going to use selective ultrasonic use and whether you're going to polish or not polish. Those are ways that we can reduce the aerosol risks. This offer from ProEdge, I will make sure that you can all access that. It's basically a half price offer for the quick pass in office or for the mail-in test kits. So you can get these in-office paddles or the mail-in test kits. I wish there was a way I could send you the paddles. I have little sample paddles. When we can be together again, we should keep a list of everybody that's on this call today. And as soon as we can be together again, I can provide you each with one of the quick pass, because ProEdge sent me some. They're little tiny things about the size of a deck of cards, so it's not something I can really send through email. So some new and some not so new products. barrier devices, which keyboard covers, touchless thermometers. You can take the temperature. That was my temperature last night at 97.7. Cold foggers. These are new things that are coming out. Air and room filtration, HVE device selection, washable keyboards and mice. So there's new things and there's old things that we're using. Cold foggers. This is hypochlorous acid, HOCl. It produces AFC, which is available free chlorine, and there's ample evidence. This is a article that was in, it's actually published at the National Institutes of Health, NIH.gov. You can go and find their article. It's for a medical office that does oral surgery. That's got a really ample evidence. There's ample evidence that hypochlorous acid works. You just have to be careful with your surfaces. And you have to decide whether you're going to mix up the solution yourself. It basically uses salt and water. And you mix that solution together in a pitcher. It has to have a certain amount of time that it's non-iodized salt that they use. And then there's room filtration. So these two pictures are from Beth at the Montgomery County Dental Program. The first thing that you can do is ask your building manager to increase the room air exchanges. You want 6 to 12 air exchangers per hour. You can install Hepa filters. You can change the filters in the HVAC system. MERV 13 filters down to 1.0 to 3.0 micron size. MERV 16 is what's used in hospital clean rooms and nuclear power plants. They filter down to 0.3 to 1.0 micron size. This is an exterior. This is a HEPA filtration exterior system that Montgomery County has. There's a product called dry hydrogen peroxide. You can Google this. It's a new way of delivering hydrogen peroxide in the air. They create a type of sail that's inside the ventilation units, and they basically just take room air, oxygen, and water, and you take water, H2O, and oxygen, and together you produce hydrogen peroxide, and that's filtered through the air, and they are finding that it reduces viruses, reduces the incidence of vegetative microbes that form. It's really exciting to think that there's something so simple that can be done with that. I had a patient Thursday who is working in a school, and they installed dry hydrogen peroxide in all their systems. And she felt really safe going back to teach live because they had something that was going to basically disinfect the air. And there's also this thing called upper room ultraviolet germicidal irradiation, and that uses UVC light. And this unit here from Dental Whale Equipment, it actually pulls the air from the room up into the ceiling, passes it over UVC, and it then vents that back into the room. Every 15 minutes, they're having that air changing. You see there's a lot of things in the chat, and I'm just going to ignore that. And then this is actually an old article. This is from 2004. It actually is, the man, John Molinari, published this, Aerosols and Splatter in Dentistry, back in 2004 when the first SARS came around, and specifically talks about HVE reducing contamination arising from the operative site by more than 90%. And the reason that in dentistry, we use an HVE has a large opening that has to be 8 millimeters or greater, and it's attached to an evacuation system that removes a large volume of air, up to 100 cubic feet of air per minute. So in addition to evacuating the liquid at the time that you're generating it, the aerosol that you're generating, it's also removing the air. And a saliva ejector does not remove a large enough volume of air to be classified as an HVE. So there's the link to that article in the JADA that was published in 2004. And there's, of course, ample evidence since then. So here's some of the HVE devices that are on the market right now. This is another photo from Beth that you're using at the Montgomery County dental program. She's lucky. She's got 2 HVE units here on devices on her unit. So she's got a Ivory, it's by Culzer Ivory Relief, hooked up to this one, and you'll see this nice tubing. So she leaves you leave your high volume device hanging so that you don't have that heavy weight, but you've got this nice 6-foot extension that you can then have your high volume suction attached to. And you have the option, he actually has a second high volume suction in that operatory. That's really a nice feature. Most dental hygiene operatories would not be fitted with that. This is a unit called safety suction. Same concept. It's got this nice 6-foot tubing hooked up to the HVE, and then it's got a clip that attaches. In this case, it's a piezo unit, and it's got the 8mm diameter exterior suction that fits right over your piezo tip. It's a lot to handle. I found that was a little hard for my hand to hold something that wide of diameter, but they make one that's similar to this for the Cavitron as well. And then there are these mirrors that have suction along them. The only concern with those is that they're multiple small holes. They're not 8mm diameter. They're multiple small holes that add up to 8mm. There's also this brand called Zerk, Mr. Thirsty, and there's the Xyrus, Isolite, IsoDry, and Isovac. Those are all units. Got some pictures of them. Here's the Ivory Relief. You can see this very nice 6-foot tubing, and then they've got a quick connect for this section here can be sterilized. This is just using the safety suction. They're nice 6-foot tubing with a standard HVE, but with a little cushion tip. So this little tip that you can purchase has, it doesn't pull in the tongue or the cheek. It helps you to be able to use the HVE. If you're lucky, you have an assistant. If you don't, you actually, surprisingly, hygienists can use a high volume suction. Takes a little practice. That's why this little tip helps so that you don't suck up their tongue and their cheek. And then this is the Dentsply PureVac unit. That's the same sort of idea. It's got a 6-foot tubing, and it's got the high volume suction with a mirror inserted. So that's a nice feature. That one's still back ordered till September. They sold out apparently in 2 or 3 days back in March, a 6-month supply of their product, and it hasn't been available for a while. And then here, this one's called Ergo Finger. This one, you put your finger in this little sleeve and you have a high volume suction here so that you can follow along using your finger right next. It's probably easier to handle than to have to try to hold a whole high volume suction in your hand, the traditional style. And then this is the Mr. Zerk, Mr. Thirsty with their little extension tubing. And it's got this thing that looks a little bit like a little whale's tail that will function both as a bite block and will actually block the back of the throat and will provide suction. The same as the Isovac unit, same concept, that they've got a nice bite block that allows the patient to relax their jaw. It's a little intimidating when they see something like this, but people have been able to, they have different sizes, pedo, small, medium, and large. Same thing with the Mr. Thirsty, same concept, that it will it'll obturate the back of the throat and will provide high volume suction. And something new, washable keyboard and washable mice so that you can disinfect your surfaces, so that you might barrier it, but isn't it nice if you could then also wipe it down and not worry about those little nooks and crannies, providing a reservoir for viruses and bacteria. And this is their website, man-machine.com. And what will come? We don't know. What will there be new treatments? They certainly will have new treatments. Right now, of course, remdesivir is an Ebola drug. They're looking at using HIV drugs along with the steroids. new technology is coming out on almost a daily basis. And then there hope and pray that a vaccine will become available. I'm hoping for January. That may be unrealistic, but as long as we have treatments that work and people do their best, you want to get good rest, get good nutrition, make sure that you're sleeping well, that you're getting good nutrition, you're exercising, and you're keeping yourself healthy so that you can provide, you can stay safe, your family can stay safe, and you can still provide care to your patients. Oh, and I have one more slide. This is your CE code from Dental Toaster. You'll claim your CE using that link right there, and there's your course code, and you can also use your QR code. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I know there's a lot of questions. I saw the chat. I tried not to be distracted.
Yes, Kathy, there's a few. It was discussion that was going on. I think Hannah wants to say something, so I'll let her go first.
Yes.
Thank you. So thank you for everyone for your patience while we're going over the questions. Please go and purchase the raffle tickets. We're not going to waiting after Kathy's Q&A section is over. Then we're going to do the raffle. So please go ahead and do it right now if you want to purchase tickets. Thank you.
Okay. Kathy, do you mind resharing that last slide for people just so it's up for a few minutes to give them a chance? And we'll leave that up while we're going through questions.
Of course, not a problem. Can you all see it now?
Yep.
Okay, great.
So the first question, I'm not sure if this is something you're able to help with or not, but right at the beginning, somebody was questioning, are 2 credits needed for infection control for your licensure?
Well, it depends on where you're licensed, okay? So you go back to your Board of Dentistry and you look at what your requirements are. So they may or may not require infection control 2 credits. One, Oregon does. It has to be exactly 2 credits and it has to be all on infection control. So it depends on your licensing board. So you need to go look at your Board of Dentistry or your I know DC is a little different with their Board of Dentistry. But you have to look at what their requirements are. It's whatever your state license, what your license and any licenses that you hold. So each license might be different.
Thank you for that. And for the people asking about the code again, I also do want to remind you really quickly. I know it's up on the screen right now, but if for some reason you didn't capture this one or the previous one, you're going to get an email with links. So don't worry about that. The second question I have here for you, Kathy, is what about patients bringing personal items into the operatory, such as purses, phones, etc.?
Well, it would be nice if we would tell them not to bring their purses. If it's a phone, I hand them a Ziploc bag. That would be something that would be just really good practice to have people put their personal items into a Ziploc bag because they're going to contaminate your surfaces. You don't know where that phone was. People don't clean their phones. They're even just their car keys. They walk in. I had a gentleman decided to empty his pockets, and he had a little Swiss Army knife, and it was kind of funny actually. By the time he was done, I don't know why he took everything out of his pockets, but he did. So I had to give him 2 Ziploc bags. But that would be something, even their glasses, they might want to put their glasses inside of a Ziploc bag. It's up to your office, whatever your protocol is. If you're going to allow people to bring things in, ask your doctor, what do you want to have in your practice? How do you want to handle that? If you want to ask patients to leave their things in the car and just come in with their phone, their credit card, and their car keys, it's up to the office how they want to handle that. But it's nice if you have a Ziploc bag, they can just hand that to the patient. They can put their things, or a plastic bag, whatever you have, paper bag, something that you can hand to the patient they can put their items into.
Awesome. Third question I have for you here is, how long does UV light have to be in contact with microbes to be effective? And then the second part, so I'll let you go ahead with that part and then I'll ask you the second part.
So it depends on, if you're talking about UVC light, it's going to be something that's inside the ceiling or inside your HVAC unit. UV light, you know, the people are selling these little wands online and maybe putting like little lights, or it's even the things that you put your hands in when you used to get, if you ever did do gel for nail polish, that's not approved. That's not something that CDC recognizes. Nobody recognizes. That's not something that's been approved to kill viruses. So you can't assume that that's going to work. There's some technology that's out there that people are anxiously running to, and there's no evidence to support it. You have to use your critical thinking skills and look at your sources. You go back to that.
The second part of that question, Kathy, was, aren't there risks to being in contact with UV light long term?
Yes, absolutely, which is, and so UVC is different. UVA and UVB definitely are known to cause cancers, and you don't want to be exposed to that type of light. Those are like tanning beds, you know, back in the day when people did that. You do not want to be exposed to that. So it's very different. UVC is a different wavelength that can disable microbes, but it's not something that you're going to be able to buy on Amazon.
Next here we have, somebody was curious if they could get a list of the products talked about today.
Oh, sure. I can probably, what if you want, I can summarize, put my CE into a PDF and send it to you, and then you can send it to the participants. Will that?
Let's talk to Hannah how she wants to do that, because that's a little out of my scope for that, but.
Whatever, I'll be glad to.
What was the question again?
She wants to distribute a PDF to the attendees after the course. I can probably figure it out. Yeah, we can do that, but that's fine.
Yeah, that would be good. Is it PDF file? Is it different from the another discount that you shared with us, Kathy?
Yes. You know, I think this PowerPoint's too big to email to people. So when I change it into a PDF file, people can then download that. It doesn't take up as much space when you send it out or even when you receive it, so that people can then have it. Basically, I'll make it like a handout, like you would get. I can make it like that.
That would be great. Thank you. I know normally speakers not want to share the presentation, but you know, thank you so much for doing that. And I guess we're gonna also give that flyers to Sarah. So Sarah, if you could, then you can send it to attendees.
Yeah, just send it to me and I'll go through into the list on the back end and I'll distribute it.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. And another question here is asking, what was the final say about waiting 15 minutes after treatment was done to allow aerosols to settle and then disinfecting the room?
It's not on the CDC website anymore. They took that away. But most people are waiting. It depends on your office. It depends on, you don't want to stay in that room. You want to get out of there then in that case. You don't want to stay in there for 15 minutes. But they took that down. I think it was June 18th, they took that down from their website when they did that. And I think that was the last update before this one.
Great. The only other question I have on this chat, I think, is actually a generalized question for everybody in attendance. Ashley is just asking, are offices using the Cavitron or Piezo with HVE such as relief? And there was somebody up above that did talk about using the leaf and it being amazing. So just to put that out there.
And I would like to add, when somebody asked about using masks that have the exhalation valve, there is guidance on that. You want to cover that with another mask. And somebody was asking about I think I had to leave the room when, I think Lisa was asking about, was a level 1. Okay, the point of, covering that mask is if you're not wearing a face shield is to keep the mask from getting wet or contaminated. And level 3 is the one that's going to keep things from getting wet. I feel pretty strongly that almost nothing hygienists do can, unless you're just doing screenings, I think we should be wearing level 3s at the minimum, and we really need to protect our eyes. So it's your nose, your mouth, and your eyes is how microbes can get in. We really need to protect ourselves. We only have, this body is the only house that we can live in, and we need to protect our house. We need to stay safe, and we need to keep healthy.
And let's see here, Kathy wanted to know if you could share that 50% off information for Pro Edge.
Yes, that'll be one of the things that you're going to send out for me, right, Sarah?
Yeah, I can do that. So just shoot me an email with your PDF and that information, and I'll do that.
Yes, and that offer is good until the end of December 2020, and it says limit 1 per practice, but you can keep reusing. You can just keep reusing this, so it's a really good value. I mean, it's half price for these testing devices, whether you want to do it in office or if you're going to mail it in. Any other questions?
That's all I see currently here for you.
Okay, great.
All right, thank you, Kathy. And then now we are having a raffle time. So Shayna, can you go over?
Yes. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Saturday. What phenomenal speakers. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Kathy, for all of the information. I was taking notes like crazy. And thank you, Mike, for giving us more information on the Easy Flow, as well as giving us 2 more filtering systems. So I think everyone's really excited. I have a lot of names here in this fancy little cup. And so I have mixed them up almost 5 good times. And so I'm just going to pull out 4 names and just say them for everyone, okay? Drum roll. Anyone want to do a drum roll?
Excited.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the first person is Kathy Barrard.
Oh! Oh my God, I kept buying them.
Yes, yeah, she buys a lot of tickets.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Congratulations.
I have to tell you guys, one of my doctors, I told him about this and he ordered it. He got it he was so excited. He's like, this thing works really well. Plus it kept him cooler and he's always hot.
Okay, the next name is Nancy Broen. Am I pronouncing that right? Nancy. All right. Let's see. The third one is Layden Basiri. Layden Basiri, okay? And last but not least, we have Sherry Benson.
Yay!
Sherry Benson. Okay, so
Wonderful.
4 lucky winners. I'm excited. I will be contacting you all to get a little more information. And Easy Flow USA is going to send you all your air systems directly. So congratulations.
All right. Thank you, everyone. All right. Is it everybody can hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Some reason my computer was just stopped. So thank you so much again for attending today's CE. I'm so sad that whoever didn't join today, because what a wonderful information we learned from Beth and Kathy. Thank you so much, Beth and Kathy, again, for all your preparation for this wonderful CE. Everybody, I'm sure, learned a lot from you guys today. This was wonderful. And then congratulations again, including Kathy, and to whom got the easy flow. I mean, you guys should share the photos with us so we can see, how it looks like. If you have any further questions, you can contact either Dental Toaster or dcdha202@gmail.com. So, we can answer to you. And again, if you having any question about the DC Dental Hygienists Association, or you want to join us or future events, please contact us. Thank you so much, everyone, for today. Stay healthy and safe.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, you all.
Bye, all. So Sarah, I'm gonna stay here a little bit longer with you.
Sounds good. Yeah, I figured I would just leave this slide up and let people filter out so they could ask any last minute questions or anything if needed here.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, will I need the codes for the CE, or will it just direct me?
You'll need to enter the codes that were given on those slides at the end, but when you get the email shortly, it's supposed to send at 1:30, it'll give you the direct links on how to go about entering those and all of that.
And do you have the code for the first? Because I only got the code for the second.
Were you present for the first?
Oh yeah, I was. I just didn't
take
a picture of it.
Give me a second. I have to go into it here. You're gonna see it all. So the first code was DCB.
DCB
M01.
M01. Thank you. I was there. I was for all three speakers actually. And you all take care. Be safe. Is everybody working?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't bridged that gap yet, but I'm getting closer.
And then Sarah, Kathy nods, she asking for the second one, the codes again.
Yes, one second. I'm trying to pull that up. I just saw her here.
Cindy, I'm glad that you joined us today.
Oh yeah, me too.
The code for the second course is DCCB02.
Do we each have our own codes?
Bye everybody. Stay safe.
Those codes are general to those courses, so they just state that you are in attendance for that specific course. They're not for each individual person.
Right.
I guess I'll just wait for the email. All of it will be in the emails, right?
The code will not be, because that's how we can tell that you are in attendance.
Oh. All right.
Is there a specific course you need? Do you need me to repeat them again for you?
Well, how many codes are there? 2?
There's 2, for one for each class.
Okay, I did it online already. I just couldn't figure out yet how to get the actual certificate.
The email that's going out will show you, but once you've gone into each course and entered the information needed, it will show up on the top left-hand corner. There will be a little drop-down menu area, and if you do that, you'll see a little option that says Get My Certificate, and it will generate the actual certificate for you. But when you get the email that should be sending out at 1:30, it'll actually have a little video to show you what that looks like.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I should write down the codes then. Oh no, I took pictures of them actually. I'm good.
Okay, if anybody needs to, I'll hang around for a little bit more so I can help you with that.
Okay, so the CE is over. So if you got the whole codes, and then you can leave the meeting. So Sarah, I think that no one really had a questions. Can we just remove the attendees from here so you and I can have a short conversation?
We sure can. Give me a moment and I'll work on that. Okay, it is just us. The other name on here is just, I had it on my phone so I could monitor the screen.
Yeah. Thank you so much for today. This was really wonderful.
Yeah, I think it went really well. So I'm glad we got all the details worked out.
I was so sweating in the middle of it. Why all of a sudden, that thing doesn't work?
Yeah, on Mike's end, I was like, oh man, I don't really know how to help him from here for that. But I'm glad Siobhan knew the setting because I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah. Oh, do you still want a recording right now, or do you want to stop?
I can stop it. Well, I'm going to have, where's it going? Is it still? There we go. I'll have them